Welcome back to a new session. So, in the previous session, we did some conceptual problems and then we also talked about substitution effect and income effect in case of normal goods and inferior goods. So, in this session, we'll continue with our discussion of some more conceptual problems, and then we'll move on to supply analysis in the next session. So let's start with our first problem. Now, here is a situation. Suppose you are interested to analyze the elasticity of demand for cars manufactured in your company. Now, under which of the following circumstances will the elasticity of demand for cars for Alex? Alex is a customer here. So, under which of the following circumstances the elasticity of demand will be low? Now, there are different scenarios given here. We need to analyze each of these scenarios and try to find out whether the elasticity of demand will be low or high. Okay, so let's take the first case. The number of substitutes for your brand of cars is low. Now, we have already learned that higher the number of substitutes, higher is the price elasticity of demand. This is because there is a high likelihood that Alex might shift his demand for substitute products or substitute brands when the price of the car increases. But if there are fewer substitutes, as in this case, Alex has fewer options. So, in this case, the elasticity of demand will be lower. Move on to the second one. Alex needs to get a driving license first to drive his car. Now, this means that the adjustment period is very high for Alex and he has a pretty long time period. So, if there are many substitutes in the market, then he can easily adjust the quantity demanded when the price of the good increases by switching to another product which provides more or less similar functions. So, time period is very important. So, in this case, the demand elasticity for the car will be very high. Then move on to the next one. The car is very inexpensive and does not take too much of maintenance. Now, because the car is inexpensive and it has low maintenance costs, it does not consume a significant proportion of the consumer's budget. So, in this case, the demand elasticity is high because a slight increase in the price of the car may cause him to look for other brands with similar prices and functionalities. The fourth one, after 5 years of buying the car, Alex realizes that the price of gasoline has suddenly increased. Now, remember, I told you earlier, if the time period is very long, then the consumer has enough time to slowly shift his demand to other products. So, since they have more options and he can make better choices, over the long run, the demand is highly elastic. Then the last one, immediately after buying the car, Alex realizes that the price of gasoline has increased. Now, in the short run, the demand is inelastic, especially for non durable goods. But for durable goods, the demand is highly elastic because in this case, Alex knows that his car needs to be replaced anyway with the increasing gasoline prices. Now, here's another problem. Butter is a normal good for Alex. His income rises by 20%. The price of butter decreases by 10%. So you have to check whichever option is applicable. Will it lead to a positively sloped demand curve? The rise in income will push the demand for butter in the opposite direction and Alex will buy less butter. The rise in income will reinforce the substitution effect and Alex will buy more butter. Now let's try to analyze this situation. First of all, butter is a normal good, which means that when the income increases, the quantity demanded for butter also increases. So here is the income effect which tries to push the demand for butter in the positive direction. Then there is also substitution effect because the price of the butter decreases by 10%, which means the quantity demanded for butter also will move in the positive direction. So both the income effect and substitution effect are pushing the demand for butter in the positive direction. So look at the first option. Will it lead to a positively sloped demand curve? No, because except for Giffen goods and Veblen goods, the demand curve is always negatively sloped. The second option, the rise in income will push the demand for butter in the opposite direction. Not really. We just discussed that income effect has a positive impact on the quantity demanded. So it will not move the demand for butter in the opposite direction. The rise in income will reinforce the substitution effect and Alex will buy more butter. So option C is the correct answer. Now move on to the third problem. So there's another situation here. You are a manufacturer of a specific type of dairy-free dessert which has a shelf life of 7 days. You are specialized to manufacture your product without any preservatives, so there is very little competition for your product. In this scenario, the demand for your product is elastic or inelastic. Now, in this scenario, since there are no substitutes for the product, we can say that the demand is highly inelastic. Okay. And naturally, if the income rises, the consumer will buy more of this because his real income increases and shifts his budget line upwards. Now let's move on to the next problem. So here is a demand equation. QXD is equal to 1000 minus 46.75 px plus 3.45 I minus 0.6 py. So we know that QXD is the quantity demanded and I is the consumer's monthly income. Px is the price of the product X and Py is price of another product Y. Okay. So just notice here that the coefficient for Py is negative, so which clearly tells us that when the price of good Y increases, the quantity demanded for good X decreases. So which means that good Y is a complement product for good X. Now if I is equal to 2000 and Py is equal to 50, you need to write the inverse demand function. So the second question, is product Y a substitute or a complement product? It is definitely a complement product because there is a negative relationship between good Y and good X. Now let's try to come up with the inverse demand function. So I'll just write the equation once again. So QXD is equal to 1000 minus 46.75 px plus 3.45 I minus 0.6 py. Now I have the values of py and I, so I just put it down. And then using the values of py and I try to calculate quantity demanded. So I'll just substitute the values of income and py and I try to simplify my equation. So I get something like this and then I try to simplify it further. So the basic objective is I need to write this whole equation in terms of px instead of qx. So I'll take my px on the left hand side of the equation and put qx on the right hand side. So my px is going to be 7870 minus QXD, the whole thing divided by 46.75. So simplify it a little bit further. So I get something like this. So this equation in terms of Px is called inverse demand function. So all you need to do is substitute the values of I and Py and solve the equation in terms of Px. So which means your Px will be on the left hand side and Qx will be on the right hand side. So the entire equation is now in terms of Px. Now move on to the next problem. A consumer's weekly demand for ice cream is given by the following equation. So you have Qi and it's a function of Pi, I and Py. Okay. So I is the income of the consumer and Py is the price of milk. So you can see that there is a negative relationship between Py and Qi, probably because milk and ice cream are complement goods. and PI is the price of ice cream. So what do you need to do? You have to find the cross elasticity of demand for ice cream if the price of milk is $10, so which means your PI is 10, price of the ice cream is... Okay, so move on to the next problem. A consumer's weekly demand for ice cream is given by the following equation. So you have QID is equal to 4 minus 0.1 PI, where PI is the price of ice cream, plus 0.0002 I, where I is the income of the consumer, and minus 0.26 PY, where PY is the price of milk. You have to find cross elasticity of demand for ice cream when price of milk is $10, so which means PY is equal to 10. Price of the ice cream is $6, which means PI is equal to $6, and I is equal to $2,000 per month. So let's try to solve this equation. So I just want to write the demand function again so that I can start working on it. So QID is equal to 4 minus 0.1 PI plus 0.002 I minus 0.26 PY. What is this coefficient to PY? The coefficient of PY is nothing but it tells me what is the change in the quantity demanded with respect to change in PY. Okay, so let me write the equation for cross elasticity of demand. So we all know that cross elasticity of demand is equal to delta QI by delta PY times PY by QI, right? So this is equal to cross price elasticity of demand. Okay. So now I have the values for I and PY and also PI. So let me use all of them and try to find QID because I need the value of QID to find cross price elasticity of demand. Okay, so let me get the values for QID. So when I is equal to 2000, PY is equal to 10, which was the price of milk, and PI is equal to 6, which was the price of ice cream. I am going to calculate my value for QID. So very simple, just put in the values into the equation and then you get the value for QID. So try solving along with me. So I have all the values into the equation and I try to solve it. I get 1.2. Okay. So now I have the value for PY, I have the value for QID, and I also know what is my delta QID by delta PY, which is nothing but 0.26. So my cross price elasticity of demand is equal to, I just substitute all the values into my equation for cross price elasticity. So minus 0.26 times my value for PY is 10, my value for QID is 1.2. So when I solve it, I get minus 2.17. So notice the negative cross price elasticity. Why is it negative? Because ice cream and milk are complement goods.